1.
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to our panelists and members of audience. Welcome to the PSPN Technology Adoption Webinar Series number 9. Today is November 25, 2020. My name is Muhammad Khairul Izaham and I will be moderating today's session on behalf of PSPN and MPC. PSPN, or Professional Services Productivity Nexus, is part of an initiative under the Malaysian Productivity Corporation, MPC, through the Nexus Governing Committee, NGC. The Nexus Governing Committee of PSPN, championed by technologist Chu Kok Beng, Chief Executive Officer of Malaysian Service Providers Confederation, MSPC, has focused on enhancing the productivity of professional services through common interests and digitalization goals. This initiative would cover the 4 thrusts of MPB, including building workforce of the future, driving digitalization and innovation, making industry accountable for productivity, and forging a robust ecosystem. Under the Malaysia Productivity Blueprint, MPB, launched in 2017, professional services has been identified as one of the 9 targeted industries covering 6 professional disciplines: engineering, legal, architecture, accountancy, advertising, and management consultancy. The establishment of the Professional Services Productivity Nexus of Malaysia Productivity Corporation, led by industry associations and enterprise champions, acting as change agents to drive the productivity trajectory of this subsector. To achieve the 4 thrusts, MPC has planned for a series of webinars on technology adoption in professional services, where the sessions will cover awareness session, clinic session, and coaching session. To our member of audience who would like to ask questions related to today's presentation, please submit the questions at the Q&A panel in your Zoom application, and please state to whom the question is for. Today's awareness session title is New Norm Through Digitalization of Processes and Services by Engineer Dr. Tan Yean Chin, and embarking on 5D BIM digitalization issues, challenges, and step-by-step model mapping and quantities extraction process by Surveyor Sharifah Noraini Norin, Syed Ibrahim Al-Jamalul Lail. Our first presenter, Engineer Dr. Tan Yean Chin, is the founder and Senior Director of GNP Professionals Group. He was President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, IEM, from 2016 until 2018, and has served for 10 years as board member of the Board of Engineers of Malaysia, BEM. He is an honorary fellow of the Asian Federation of Engineering Organizations, AFEO, fellow of IEM, Institution of Civil Engineers, ICE UK, Asian Academy of Engineering and Technology, AAET, and Academy of Engineering and Technology of the Developing World, AETDEW. Currently, he is the Secretary General of Federation of Engineering Institutions of Asia and the Pacific, FEIAP. Presenting today's topic, New Norm Through Digitalizations of Processes and Services, please welcome Engineer Dr. Tan Yean Chin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, moderator Engineer Muhammad Khairul. So today, my title of my presentation is New Norm Through Digitalization of Processes and Services. The content of my presentation will cover professional services industry during and post-COVID-19 pandemic. I will talk about a new norm and what is required in the new norm. Then I will touch on action needed by the professional service industry. What can we do? Then the third one, digitalization of processes. I shared some of the experience of my own firm since we developed it during the MCO time for March, and we have been using it, and we find it very useful, so I share with all the participants. And finally, conclusion. Challenges of the post-pandemic, the new world. Working life has never returned to normal because the pandemic may appear again anytime in the future because, you know, the SARS virus, COVID, and many more will come. So we also have to prepare that MCO or CMCO and RMCO may be imposed anytime until everything is settled. So work from home will become a norm. So in order to prepare for work from home, many things have to be done, especially for our professional engineering services, and how to strive and survive in this uncertain new world. Business has to go on, you still have to earn a living, your staff have to be paid, so on and so forth. That is on the left side. What you can see is that before the COVID-19, I don't think if I tell you in the December of 2019, saying that one day all of us have to wear masks when working in the office, and sometimes you cannot go office. Many people, then you must be daydreaming. But now it's become a reality. So right side is now many people working at home. There are challenges to it. Company has to prepare for it. Today we are having a webinar. If not because of COVID-19, I don't think we will have webinar. Rather, we have a physical meeting. And the advantage of a physical meeting is that you get to see each other close, and then there is a personal contact. But the disadvantage is that people from different states have to travel, and that costs money. With the new norm, now we can do everything online. What you lost is human touch, but you gain is more people can enjoy and learn things online. And I believe for the last few months, so many of us are attending so many webinars until our knowledge has exceeded a boiling point, too much to absorb. So these are the nature of the new norm. Then as an engineering consultancy, we must prepare that before we print a lot of reports, we carry whole stacks of documents, drawings. With that, I think we have to prepare ourselves. Submission may have to be through digital, and how to do submission digital. Not only the engineering consultancy service have to change, our government and our authority will have to adopt new technology or accept new changes. They cannot insist the old way because things has changed and it's no more practical. So the survival of a country and also the economy depends on how fast the private sector change, and also the government have to accommodate the changes. So we have blockchain technology, even construction on site, drawings, reports can be digitalized and prepared and work on it. So a new norm will be working from home is prevalent. Virtual meeting, as I discussed, will be a norm, and it should be encouraged, okay? Because currently we have preventing spreading of the virus. Third one, e-submission. So even with blockchain technology or even without blockchain technology, a lot of things can be go through e-submission and how to do it. Then hard copy to paperless. And today I'm going to touch a lot more on hard copy to paperless. That not only it expedite the work, it also save money. Actually, I found out from my own company that our printing cost goes down by more than 50% since we introduced the digitalization. That is a good thing that happened in COVID. That's the only good thing we can see. Okay, then we will ask ourselves, what are required in the new norm? A company will need a good computer service because you cannot rely on everybody working in a place or moving around hard structure. So computer service is a must. So not only your computer servers that are able to cater for normal meetings or minutes or report, you also cater for computer software. That means professional software, engineering software that can be run from home. Okay, so other things is that like meeting software, but currently we are using Zoom. Personal computer, previously maybe all the company have desktop. Now maybe some of the company may have to consider notebook for their staff. So these are extra costs. So these are challenges. And the last one, which is the most challenging in Malaysia, is a wide coverage of high-speed internet access. So this is something that we cannot control. So people who are lucky will have access to it, but I hope the government will expedite the coverage of high-speed internet access so that everybody can work from home. So you can see that there are money required to cater for all the requirements above. New upgraded hardware, computer servers, notebook, VPN software to allow work from home, because your security must be assured. For our company, we subscribe to a VPN. That means to ensure only correct people can enter our servers in the office from home. Licensing of software, offsite access, VPN, so on and so forth. All these things actually pose a cost to the company. And this is also something that we cannot help, but have to adopt and adapt. And as for the professional service industry, we must establish, because everybody is working from home, how are you going to evaluate their performance evaluation, and after that their remuneration compared to working from office. You cannot see they are working. So how you evaluate how much work they have done. So this will require a company to slowly evolve to look at output based. That means how much output and quality of works to assess whether our workers are doing their work. Number two, facilitate and promote work from home through digitalization of process, which is I'm going to share some of simple things that we have done free of charge and easily adopted. Third, prepare necessary company infrastructures that we need to coordinate. Assist employees and facilities such as computers, or even how to have a modem for their desktop that they can bring home instead of working from office, things like that. And finally, coordinate with the clients to accept and adopt the new norms, such as submission of claims. Nowadays, we no more printing, no more postage, all this saving. They accepted digital claim, and they will pay through digital claim. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that we have done in our office. It's called digitalization of process, especially in documentations. We have digitalized letters, preparation, reports, drawings, all hard copy to be omitted or reduced. So on top here in the black are the old conventional way. We print out in hard copy, we hand, what they call it, sign and fill up with a form. Either you are using a pen or whatever, then you sign with a pen. Other than that, you sign, then the admin staff will help you to scan, and then you file in your e-filing so that you can search it in the computer system. You can see the process is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But after we do the digitalization, the process becomes digital fill up. That means all the letters, reports, drawings are digitally done. That means reports, letters, format can be through a standard format. After you do, you prepare, you send for authorized person to sign digitally. Then after that, straight away you send out and also to the computer server. So this process not only speed up your whole processes, it also save money. There is no printing cost, there is no paper cost, and there is no workforce that required to scan the hard copy to soft copy can do other work. So it's faster, more efficient, cost-effective, paperless and printless, environmental friendly. So environment friendly is coincident, but this is also a plus point that you end up having a good things from all the bad news of COVID. So how do you do a digitalization of document? So you can start with either Word file, Excel, PDF. I believe everybody will be familiar with this. Even drawings from CAD, after you finish the drawing, check and OK, convert to PDF, then you are ready for digital signature. The conclusion, the important thing is that how to have a security of your digital signature. Some people say it's a scan and just scan it, scan your digital, put that. No, that is not digitalization. That is called a very superficial. You cannot trace who have put the signature. You cannot trace who have signed on it. You cannot trace when was it signed. So what we have done is that we use the concept of PDF form and digital signature with electronic signature. It sounds very complicated, but after I show you, it's actually very simple. It can be steps that you download from internet, straight away you can use. So first thing you must prepare is you must know what is called digital signature. Digital signature is a process that guarantees that the contents of the document have not been altered in transit. You certify use certificate with encryption to ensure authenticity. What it means is that the test page of the digital signature, that means if you click on any PDF that people submit to you, such as if my company submit a claim, you click on the PDF, you can verify who actually signed it, not based on whatever is signed there. You can see from this signature is valid, signed by my engineer, San, the document has not been modified. So all this can be clicked on the button, you will see. They even have a certified date, when was it done and things like that. So this is called a digital signature. Then what is an electronic signature? Because we are human, we usually like to see signature of a human kind, like your electronic signature here, but you also want it to be authentic. So first of all, you can sign on a blank piece of paper, scan it, then it's called electronic signature. You input into the PDF format. So electronic signature is an electronic sound or symbol or process that attached to a document and executed or adopted by a person with the intent to sign the document. That means what you need to do is scan your hand signature, and then you type your name, biometric hand signature, etc. You create your own. And all this will not appear on the document unless your computer and your password match it. That's it. I have a PDF file that prepared letter, want me to sign. I will click on it, and then I will put in my digital signature, which is including the electronic signature. Whether your name appear or not appear, you can choose. Even with the date and time want to appear or not appear, you can choose. Once you choose what type of format to appear, then there is a password that you need to key in, which you already create for yourself. Only yourself can create this digital signature on your desktop or on your notebook. Then you put on your digital signature that will recognize as you. So in summary, security of digital signature is like that. So let's say Alice prepared a document called Hello Board. He tested stuff Hello Board. Okay, can be document, report, drawings, or letter. Then you send for signing. Okay, Alice will have a private key. That means, like just now I say, the digital signature, he will input into here by signing it, key in his password. Straight away, you have the document, we have the content which is called Hello Board, but it has authentication. That means you have this digital key that show that when was it done by who. So then you submit to the recipient. The recipient can be authority, the recipient can be a client, it can be your co-workers, you can be architect who receive it. The people who receive the document, he can click and he can see that, okay, or this I check, or is correct. He just click a button, he can see authentication by who. And then true, this message is authentic. So he knows that it's not somebody steals a certain people's signature, scan and send to you. Whatever you scan, it can look very authentic, but once you click, there is no way to verify your authentication. So it's called an asynchronous encryption one way. That means this, once the top there, go to the bottom cannot modify. Once you modify it, the third person who see he click the verify, he will show that somebody have modified it, then the authenticity loss. So there are so many bits of encryption. To me, for all the engineering work, even 1024 bits of commutation are more than sufficient. And that's the lowest level of security, but is sufficient for all our work. So example, I'm going to show you the outgoing letter example. You draft a letter in the letterhead, you forward to the project director or whatever. This is our company's process for review. Once it's okay, after approval, prepare the letter in PDF. You can be prepared in Word. Then once it's amended everything, you print into PDF together with the letterhead. Then the project director will put the digital signature, which he key in the password. Only he can put. Other people cannot put my signature. Then after he sign, okay, then he will send to the, what they call that, project will have to put a digital signature. Then he forward to project engineer or admin. This is our processes. You send out to your client or to the other thing, then you can file it. So every company will have different way, but it's the same way how to do it. So example, okay, number one, project engineer shall certify using own digital signature the document before sending to project director. That means when I receive a document, I will click before I put my sign. You can see on the top here, this document was certified by Garofong GMP with a valid certificate. I know this is not a fake document. That means he prepared it and I checked, yes, he is the one. Then ensure the draft letter is reviewed by PE in the initial letter currently to use certify invisible in the exchange. So, but you won't see the certifier in the document. Only you click, you can verify who is it. Okay, same thing. Then I will put my signature here. Okay, in this digitally. Another one is report. Same thing, you prepare. Okay, even for the forms, you can do all this, prepare the form in digital, in PDF, and all this you click, you get to sign it. So all this, even the box to key in the keywords, our project quality plan, all these are digitalized, so you no more need a hard copy. Okay, even for the, can also be used for general forms such as leave application, mileage claim, all this, they just type in, then the digital signature, whoever want to pay can verify it is correct. And the HR usually will just click and make sure it's okay, then they will proceed to pay. So, okay, I just want to unshare the screen for a while. We still got time. I'm going to show the example of our forms. Example. 1 minute, bear with me. I try to get in first, then only I'll share the screen. Share screen. Okay. Can you see the screen of a GMP intranet? Okay, I assume can, right? All right, so I will go to, can see or not?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so you can see that once we prepare, we even have the document. Okay, like this document, example, this is our company's document, and somebody will prepare it, and let's say I will save it. Okay, I will save it, download. Let's say I download this document. Okay. Okay, you hold on for a while I open this document. Okay. Bear with me, I will just show. The problem with Zoom is that when I change between different software, it was not able to show directly on the screen. So just bear with me for a while. Okay, so okay, close this one. Stop share. Then I go to show you the example. Try. Okay, 1 minute. Now I'm going to share the screen, okay, of PDF. Okay, now this is in PDF. You can see Adobe Acrobat Reader. This software actually free. You just need to buy one software to create all the forms, then the rest is free. So once I received it, assuming I verify it, can all of you see? I believe can moderator maybe can comment if you don't see. So I just come here, I put the certified. Okay, I have a digital sign here. Let's say I want to sign here, example. I create a box. Okay, because I have prepared my own digital signature, you can see sign a digital ID. So my ID is here, then continue. Then I can select in here whether I want to put the name, date in this signature or not. Even the logo, whatever. Usually we just put the signing, but today I'm going to. So once I have this, I can lock the document. Then I put my password. A minute, wrong. You can see. Okay, then I save it. Try, save. Okay, that's it. Now you can see that I have put this digital signature, and whoever want to verify it, they can click on the document. You can see signature is valid, signed by myself, Dr. Tan Yen Chin. The document has not been modified since the signature was applied. The document was signed by a current user. So what we call this is called a digital signature. And it can be applied in drawings. I can even create a PE stamp with signature, but it can be verified. Whoever opened this document, they click on my signature, they will see the verification. Okay, and the signature properties, it will tell you, you see, the document has not been modified, so on, so forth, and the signature was valid at the signing time, when was it signed, and then path verification check successful, and things like that. So I think with that, this is an example. Later we can discuss further, and I just tell you that Adobe Reader is free. Adobe Acrobat Reader and other Acrobat PDF reader, they can do all these things. You only need to buy one license to create all the forms. Then actually for application, it can be used throughout. I think with that, thank you very much for my presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tan. I think it is kind of interesting. One of the points that you mentioned is about losing the human touch, but regaining something else. Yeah. And then I think most of your presentation is talking about the security feature of the document itself. And I think security is a very important aspect of preparing documents to be sent out. And it is quite a hot topic nowadays regarding like blockchain itself. How can you use blockchain in order to make our document much more secure? Okay, anyway, thank you so much for your insights. I hope that the audience would also benefit so much from the presentation. Okay, now we move on to the second presentation. Our second presenter, Surveyor Sharifah Noraini Nurin Said Ibrahim Al-Jamalulail, is the BIM Director for the Integrated Project Information Management, IPIM. She is a Senior Project Manager at Perunding DMA Sdn Bhd, and she is also currently the Honorary Treasurer QS Division in Royal Institution Surveyors Malaysia, RISM, presenting Embarking on 5D BIM Digitalization Issues, Challenges and Step-by-Step Model Mapping and Quantities Extraction Process. Please welcome Surveyor Sharifah.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
You can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much, Muhammad Hairul, for the introduction. I'm very honored today to be the speaker for this PSPN webinar on technology adoption for professional services, Series 09, titling 5D Digitalization for Professionals, the issues, challenges, and model mapping. Contents. What we're going to share today is the definition of BIM and 5D BIM. What is not BIM? Misconceptions about 5D BIM QS, 3D modeling for costing, BIM case study and delight homes, affordable housing, 5D BIM extraction, hand-holding step-by-step, samples of my SMM and diversification of 5D BIM QS. Definition of BIM for those people who have not been involved in BIM and 5D BIM. So BIM is an intelligent 3D model-based process that gives architecture, engineering, and construction AEC professionals the insight and tools to more efficiently plan, design, construct, and manage buildings and infrastructure. Building information modeling is a process involving the generation and management of digital representations of physical and functional characteristics of a facility. Do we have a Malaysian BIM definition? Yes, we do. From Jawatan Kuasa Pemandu BIM Kebangsaan 2013, BIM is a modeling technology with associated set of tools and processes to produce, communicate, and analyze digital information throughout construction life cycle. All professionals are involved in BIM. Owner, architect, structural engineer, MEP/BS engineer, surveyors, contractors, fabricators, property managers are all involved in BIM as well. And it's important for all the professionals to be involved from the early stages. What is not BIM? The non-exhaustive list below provides some examples of models that are not regarded as BIM. Firstly, models that contain 3D only, data only, and have no or few object attributes. Secondly, models with no support of behavior. 3, models that are composed of 2D CAD reference files that must be combined to define a building. Number 4 is the models that allow changes to dimensions in one view that are not automatically reflected in the other view. This is very important. Models that allow changes to dimensions in one view must automatically reflect the other view for it. The current scenario in Malaysia, unfortunately, we have to say that there is a missing 5D cost in the requirements in the RFP for BIM projects. In the current scenario, only 3D Revit models are required with clash detections. Then it goes directly to facilities management or 6D. This is really not a very good process where we do not reap the harvest of the BIM directly. So BIM process workflow, what it should be. So from the Employees Information Requirement, EIR, goes to the BIM education plan. And with the modeling guidelines, it can go into Revit or other softwares, okay, such as Architect, okay. And with that, with the model library, you will have a 3D BIM model. And we have a 5D BIM tool in order to extract the quantities. Now, we can be Revit, it can be Vico, it can be Loden Cobicos, I2, CosX, build soft displays, type, etc. And from this, the model-based quantity takeoff could be taken with the cost evaluation and the 4D flow line program, resource histogram and cash flow. Okay. What is the 5D BIM? So 5D BIM is for the 3D model embedded with minimal required information such as 3D is 3D plus required information. 4D BIM is model plus information plus time or scheduling. And 5D BIM is model plus required information plus time plus cost. So 3D modeling for costing. Now, we have a problem. Sometimes people model, but we are not able to extract the quantities nor the cost. Why? Because, one example, conventional way, when modeling the 3D model, it is advised to use the miter joints instead of straight conventional way for BIM compliance design, as shown in the diagram below. This is because the accuracy of the model will determine the accuracy of the quantifications extracted from the model and consequently the accuracy of the pricing of items. Naming convention needs to be determined at the outset to ensure standardization. Information required, so the minimum required information for BIM models is category or element, family, and type. For example, for walls, this is the category in Revit that you can have walls. Okay? And from that, we have to the family of walls, have walls and walls finishes. And for the types, we have to determine the internal walls and external walls separately. This goes on for wall finishes, internal finishes, and external finishes. And the details of information required for walls can be seen here, where after that, the dimensions and the specifications. For example, in a BIM model, this is the naming convention of basic wall from a sample JKR project. Sample of 4D and time schedule. BIM 4D. important, as 4D BIM is the logical, is the way how you construct your project, basically in scheduling. So this is one of the ways in which we could do in probably Primavera or Microsoft Project or even Vico, where it shows the Gantt bar chart, which we normally study at from the universities. And we also have a 4D flow line, actual and projection, where we can show where it starts and finishes and how to counter should we have any delays and how to actually improvise it to ensure that for timely completion and quality. So for 5D BIM costing, model-based estimating, okay, this is where the extraction, which I will show to you step by step later. This is important. So BIM extends into use is to incorporate a fourth dimension for design and 5D cost, which specifically concerns quantification, modification, and extraction of data contained within the model in order to become the primary source of information for quantifying services. So what is quantity BIM? So three types of quantity. Quantities based on actual model components with visible details. You can explore through the model. Okay. Second one is the quantities derived from the model components, such as moldings around the windows, which are not visible. And the third kind of quantity is non-model quantities, example, temporary works, formworks, construction joints, etc. So unless the construction phase is modeled, then the design model will show graphically design quantities, but not the construction quantities. Cost manager is likely to be skilled in picking up quantities that are solely based on model components. So I must stress, 5D BIM is rather about cost rather than quantity. Accepting quantities is not the only intent of 5D BIM. It exists in the workflow. 5D BIM quantity players utilize their skill set and knowledge to perform the professional cost management role of a project. This is from Finland's BIM 2012 Series 7 states that BIM does not resolve quantity takeoff related issues exhaustively, and not all quantities needed in a project can be taken off from BIM. The professional skill of a quantity surveyor is still needed in assessing the validity of the source data and source materials, ensuring the coverage of the takeoff, proposing alternative solutions, and analyzing results. So in conclusion, 5D BIM using BIM will still perform the same fundamental processes as in traditional. So these are all the available tools to be sustainable for sustainable design. Why is it important to adopt 5D BIM? BIM usage has grown globally and is mandatory for certain projects in Malaysia, especially for projects which are 100 million and above. It is known to save money and time for all parties when used efficiently. It is about adding value to a project life cycle from inception to end of life. One of the main reasons of adopting BIM is to stay abreast in the digital era. As the saying goes, the early bird catches the worm. What's the misconception about 5D BIM? Some misconceptions are quantity surveys will be extinct once BIM is adopted. All quantities reside within the 3D model. Bill of quantities can be produced with the click of a button. An architect or engineer can extract quantities from a model. Hence, they can now perform the quantity survey code. The scope of 5D BIM is just extracting quantities from the model. What's the benefits of 5D BIM? I love the one that benefits we can get from benefit of BIM is you can see from this drawing, you can't even see what is the problem, but easily seen in BIM. So other benefits of 5D BIM: enhanced visualization, reduces inaccurate interpretation of the project documentation, reduces assumptions which the 5D quantity needs to make, enables efficient and fast financial evaluation exploration of alternative design options, enhances collaboration between quantity surveyor and other design team members at cost planning stage, rapid identification of design changes during the design development stage, provides commercial advantage over competitors for quantity surveyors who wholeheartedly embrace 5D BIM complex construction projects and sets the minimum level of compliance for ethical and certification. These are some of the benefits of BIM process. The BIM iceberg. What we actually in Malaysia are reaping are only the tip of the iceberg. We have not even got to the stage of the whole value of BIM. This is, as I said to you, the missing 4D, 5D link. We are just doing 3D models and flash detection. What a shame. Understanding the knowledge of 5D BIM for the project. The understanding and knowledge of 5D BIM project will benefit the surveyor engages, okay, when the quantity surveyor, when the 5D BIM surveyor engages with the author of the BEP to achieve a common understanding and provide input to appropriate. Shares the naming convention. Okay, I must stress, most important for BIM, collaboration is the naming convention. It must be the same for the designers, it must be the same for the actors, and it must be the same for the contractors. So once it's standard, all reference parties can use it. Understand expectations and timing of deliverables. Understand the frequency and types of files that is issued. Understand the extent of model validation. Understand how information is shared. How is it updated? How is it amended? This is very important. Understand the proposed classification coding system and how this could be leveraged by the 5D BIM surveyor, communicates and deliberates not only for the use of 5D BIM surveyor, but also for other downstream users that generic model objects should be used for any elements that are required to be quantified, understand the digital model, should be modeled the way the project is physically built. Legal considerations. Are there any legal considerations of 5D BIM projects? For projects that adopt BIM-based digital technologies, there are legal considerations. There should be an agreed protocol defining how BIM will be implemented in the project along with the limits of that implementation. The agreed protocol should be incorporated by reference into the contract documentation. So this is missing. But RISM are trying to have a task force for the BIM legal framework, which is ongoing. The BIM at the agreed levels of development should ideally form part of the construction contract documentation and be incorporated in the contract terms for each professional appointment, including surveyor. So other amendments to the legal documentation may be needed depending on BIM levels of development. Okay. So all these documents should be documented and expressed out in the BIM execution plan. Assumptions of risk and liability, BIM duties, rights, responsibility of the manager, which parties are liable to form mistakes in the BIM, and to which other party they owe liability, lines of communication between BIM manager and various construction consulting parties, time limitation periods applied concerning each party's liability for the information included in the BIM, and the level of duty of care imposed on consultants, including 5D BIM. So the available technologies of software in the market, there is BICO, where BICO Office enables integration of different softwares such as Tekla, Bentley, SketchUp, and software using IFC. So they remain the in the industry's most integrated approach to coordination, Takeoff, cost estimation, project scheduling, and production control, where 3D model, 4D cost, 4D scheduling, and 5D costs are integrated. One model change in 3D will change to 4D and the 5D. The next one is SITE. SITE is developed for an architecture, engineering, and construction professionals from 1983. One of the sites focus is OpenBeam, where OpenBeam is a global proposal to encourage collaboration in the design, implementation, and maintenance of buildings based on standard format, files, and workflows. It is possible to implement a collaborative, multidisciplinary, and multi-user workflow that allows for project development in an open, coordinated, and simultaneous manner amongst the intervening agents. So it's based on an open public standard interchange IFC, in such a way that the contents of the BIM project are not linked to a specific program or application. Next one is Cubicos Gloden. Cubicos Gloden is a professional and industry-leading BIM-based costing solution designed to empower quantity surveyor with the latest technology in handling their daily tasks with increased accuracy and efficiency. It is widely trusted by clients across the world, including more than 400 organizations in Malaysia, comprised of QS consultant, main contractor, developer, consultant, government, agencies, and academia. So there is TASC, TRBC, and TBOC. Next one is I2 CosX. 3D BIM support 2D Takeoff, have live linked workbooks and professional reports all in the one integrated program. So no more switching from one program to another, or your information is in one. And BuildSpace. So BuildSpace is a cloud-based platform for construction players to collaborate and digitalize their procurement and contract management process. Now, what are the problems encountered during takeoff process? Here is one of the problems that when we encounter during the takeoff. When the modeler does not differentiate between internal slab and external slab. So the floor slab when modeled are as one huge slab, no separation between internal and external, and this will not enable us to get the quantities for the bill of quantities. This is the same for walls. When we do walls, as I have shown before, it must be segregated between internal walls and external walls when modeled. If not, the quantity surveyor has to try to separate them, and it takes a long time. And this is one of the things when this group item should be identified as one, but due to the way the model was modeled, the software just take it as separate item. Newly launched case study, Delight Homes. I would like to introduce you. This is a sustainable, innovative housing. Yeah. This is the Delight Homes project. Sustainable and innovative affordable housing. This is a CIDB technical publication number 204. What it does, this is the architect. It's a handbook, a guideline for architects, structural engineers, mechanical, electrical engineers, handbook for surveyors, and handbook for CFD solution. What it does is the Delight Homes is a sustainable and innovative affordable housing design handbook intending to encourage the industry players to renew and improve affordable housing, both existing and under construction, by leveraging on technology and innovation. So based on simulation of typical floors of high-rise strata, that's this handbook is composed of a collection that provides a comprehensive manual on architectural, structural, mechanical, plumbing, QS for the low income. So 5D BIM process with Pico. Now, I will go through with you step by step of the handbook process. This Pico is a product by Timber. What you can do is first, what you do is you export model from Revit to 5D BIM Pico. And first important thing is for you to activate the model without activating the model, we could not read and extract the quantities from it, and nothing could be linked from the activated model. So rubbish in, rubbish out. Exporting the model, once the model is ready, you can see that the model is easily visualized. So after that, this is the process when quantity is extracted out from Revit, and you can see that in the screen that this is the quantities of it, and you can also see that the models which are quantified are already colored in yellow. Now, the types of quantity, there are 19 units of derivative that can be extracted by 5D BIM tool. Okay? So this is, so it can be number, it can be meter, it can be hole count, perimeter count, bottom surface area, top surface area, edge surface area, whole surface area, net volume, meter cube, okay? Meter square, join horizontal surface, join vertical surface, meter, edge length, joint length, and all the count. So then after that, preparation of the cost plan in the Excel. So what we do is, the cost plan consists of project code, elements of project, trades and sub-trades, unit of rates, rate costs, and resources forward. This is for the whole. Then you take it from the database, and you can also use it in Excel. So once you have it in Excel, you have to validate the 5D BIM cost plan. And this will be how it looks like with the quantities extracted. Similar to the model imported in Vico, the cost plan needs to be activated before it can be mapped. So once we have that, the takeoff manager is where, here is the takeoff manager, where all the available quantities extracted from the model is present. This is the 3D model of the project visualization and cost plan. Now, the most important is once the one place changed, the other place also changed. So the 3D changes, the material takeoff changes, as well as the cost plan changes. Okay, so taking off for the concrete floor slab, for example. So this is the takeoff. You can see the opens. You take the quantity from the meter square, you drag and drop to the cost plan. And once it's dropped, you can see that it's done. It's quite easy. Okay. This is for the external wall as well, the same thing. But okay, you can see, okay, quantity successfully mapped. We can check how. As you can see, the quantities that have been extracted are in yellow. But can you see that there are some which are not colored in yellow? It means that it has not been extracted from the model and needs to be corrected. So this way you can see and rectify your errors directly. Related quantities which are mapped to the BQ item, this window shows parts of the model which are related to quantities and BQ with quantities. So once we have that, we link it to the BQ for the bills of quantities with the cost. Bill of quantities SMM2 versus MySMM. Now, MySMM 2020 is actually launched on the 24th of July 2020. Yeah. So the taking off method tested in MySMM 2020 is familiar and used to suit how BIM generate quantities in order to ease QS in extracting the quantities calculated by BIM software and to ensure the quantities extracted can be used throughout the BIM cycle process. However, it is important to note rubbish in. Okay. In the industrialized building system, IBS wall. Now, an example. Last time, SMM2 for industrial wall, we used meter square, whereas for my SMM 2020 is in numbers. So you can see that it is in numbers now according to the designated panels. And these are the panels which are customized for the IBS. An example for joinery, so it will be like general joinery instead of internal doors, complete doors. So this is how it's going to be, look like, and metal work as well. The brick and block work now changes to this format. And as you can see and you realize, there's an indent to the my SMM 2020 more significantly than before. The application of cost with 5D PIM. So from the standard modules that we have, we can actually get the quantities and costs and even try to get it per element and items, comparison between units from one to another. This can be for different buildings and things like that. So new diversification for 5D PIM QS. Now, once we have the model and modules, we can actually have permutations of the best value for money and space can be done. So for exploring the 5D PIM potential. We also have cost target with BICO, where BICO will have, once we have a target, we can actually make the elements as well as the percentages. In 5D PIM BICO, there's a feature which helps user to analyze the cost target with the price BQ. There are the elements from our cost plan. You can distribute the cost by percentage and or distribute the cost by elements. And after setting the cost target in Cost Explorer, where BICO helps you to analyze whether the BQ elements price in this project exceeds the target or not. So the indication will be either blue, green, or red. So blue is under cost. So green is within target cost and red exceeds cost. As you can see, this is a marvelous one as all the price is under cost. So location-based quantities. Now, it's important where we could actually make a zone and vertically and horizontally in order to find the cost and quantities. Example, from a 40-story high condominium, if let's say the client wants the cost and quantity from 4th level to 10th level, we can actually cut the levels and zones, and we can quantify and get the cost for each and every zone. This is a marvelous LBS a feature in which we could actually do, because usually modelers don't model according to the zones that we want. Okay, so the 19 unit derivative that can be done in each zone. And this is the location-based cost report from for each of the elements that we want for zones. This is the PIM tsunami. I would like to end it like the tsunami wave for PIM is coming. So hold on for the ride. The question is, will we be ready with the boat, capitalize and benefit from it? Or will we be the bystander who will be gasping for help and drown by it? Are we ready to adopt it? Thank you. I hand it over to you, Harold. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Surveyor Sharifah, for your presentation. It is interesting. A few points from your presentation is talking about rubbish in, rubbish out. Me as a, I would understand that definitely, because sometimes, most of the times when I see like draftsmen creating all the drawings and the 3D modeling, that it's kind of rare for them to actually consider the construction of it, which one is actually the external wall, which one is actually the internal wall. Most of the time it's not separated. I would share the same sentiment, because even to me, we need to be very detailed and specific when we want to create drawings, be it on the two-dimensional CAD drawings or three-dimensional BIM models, right? So thank you, Sharifah. I think that we have to brace for the BIM tsunami soon afterwards. All right, okay. I would like to remind our member of audience who would like to ask questions related to today's presentation. Please submit the questions on the Q&A panel in your Zoom application, and please state to whom the question is for. I would like to also to remind our audience to fill up the evaluation form through the link given in the chat box. We highly value your feedback. Now we shall move to the most awaited part of the day, which is the Q&A session. All right. So the first question is actually from me. There are things that I'm quite curious based on both of the presentations. Because both of the presentations actually focus on the pro aspect of the digitalizations and adopting all this new technology, all this with all the security features and all the benefits that we could actually gather from technology. And both of it actually have the same theme. In this is actually about paperless documentation. What concerns me is that although that these technologies are exciting, but we cannot deny that there are times that this system would fail. So would you think that paper, hard copy documentation is still important in order to preserve the integrity of the project?
Okay, you want me to take first? Okay, actually, now I ask you, how many of you still have bring the bank passbook to withdraw money? None.
I still bring mine.
So what is very important to your whole career is your wealth, right? So your money in the bank, your FD, your shares, the shares that you bought in KLSE, do you have a hard copy to prove it's yours? You don't have, right? You have to rely on digital. So that's a scary story. What if the bank say, I don't have your data, you don't have money with me? So in order to move on with the digital age, actually backing up, even through your own server with a backup, plus what do you call that? You can even add another safety net by cloud safe server. So all these things are actually a very common now. So for ourselves, is that as your company grows, as your project, let's say you already 40 years or 20 years, let's say for my company, we are 22 years old, 21 years old. So the amount of information or papers you generate is so much that actually at one time, we take 2 stories of shop blocks just to store our files. So, but finally, we found out we cannot be doing that. Number one is that it's very difficult to access. Number two is you actually, after a while, you're either eaten by cockroaches or nobody wants to go to the filing place because it's so dusty. So you digitize everything. Then you make sure that everything are scanned properly. That's olden days before the proper digitalization. Then after that, you do a backup. That means you have a factor of safety of 1. The server itself, usually a good server, you have your own backup system. And then you have an external backup. That means like my office, I have a few floors, a few units away, I have another backup server. So your 2 backup server is not likely even you burn down your own old office, the server still survive. So hard copy is still a very old school. Like if you want to draw something, you no choice. Like a painting, digitalization versus you actually want to paint it different. But for engineering wise, even letters, format, all this, if we scan it properly, I believe is good enough and can be even as evidence. That's my take.
Okay, for hard copy, drawings especially, legally, drawings 2D are the main material which is legalized, used legally. Unfortunately, 3D models are still not recognized legally. So So all architects and engineers must have their 2D drawings, unfortunately. Isn't it so, Dr. Tan?
I think things are moving. I think in few years' time, 3D model drawing is acceptable. I think if the COVID become COVID-22, COVID-23, all will be even 3D, just joking, even 4D drawings will be recognized.
Okay.
So it is
Nobody
kind of
wants to
interesting,
touch.
you know.
Maybe I just add one more thing. Actually, why we moved to digitalization in our office, because our staff, when all of us came back to office after MCO, we applied committee, and everybody is so scared to touch anything not belongs to him. That means if you have letters that you need to prepare and then pass to someone, the secretary will touch, then after that the admin will touch, you will bring to different floor and you pass to director to touch, and then going back forth and on. So that is a transmitter of a virus, a channel that can happen. So everybody is so happy that they say, oh, once, that's why we developed the digitalization before we went back to office. And straight away go back office, it's like a change that nobody will object, despite they have to learn it very fast, but they are so happy because I don't need to touch something that could have virus. So COVID-19 brings a lot of pain, but to me, it also brings a lot of opportunities for us to revamp the whole operating system of our company. Just like just now, I share our intranet. Previously, we don't have it all on the desktop. Previously, we have it in our internal server. That means you must be in office to access. But because of this COVID, we make it into the cloud server. We purchase something like space from Google, and we load everything up, and we have an access code for only the staff whose email is recognized and their ID recognized. They can enter and do whatever things there to work. So all these things, actually for the since March until now, we have evolved something that within 6 months, more than what we evolved for the last 20 years. And this is how human and business, and I will believe that everyone who can adopt to change will survive.
Yeah, I think I can understand that because when we look at the history of humankind, we can only like move towards something. I mean, like we can only revolutionize the way that we work when we are facing certain crises. Like last time we had World War, Second World War, and then that would actually change so many things, and the way that how we adopt the technology, and then even the way that how we interact with other people, how we do geopolitics and such. And now COVID-19 is actually giving us another opportunity to rethink on how we actually operate our business and operate everything. Because like, I mean, like the idea of having everything can be done remotely. I mean, like what you said yourself, uploading it into a cloud system. And I think I can agree that without COVID-19, we are still doing it in the olden or in a much more conventional way. And then perhaps there are people who would come up with all these proposals using cloud, but it tend to be ignored because of the cost prohibition. But that's actually leading to another question that I mean, like because like Dr. Tan, you've been mentioning about acquiring servers and a good server to actually to store all this information instead of having like 2 stories of building storing all this data. But my question would be like, this also go for the BIM system because of the cost, right? Last time, I think if I'm not mistaken, session number 7, we had with Dato' Izumi and Architect Abu Zarif. We were also talking about BIM, and then we were talking about which of the company or firm can easily adopt with the all new technology, the small firm or the big firm. So in your opinion, both of our presenters' opinion, which one is actually much more easier to adapt to this new technology? Will it be like the small firm or the big firm? And then like, because we were talking, when we look at all this technology that is being presented, we know that there are costs incurred. And then like server itself, if we want to create a good server, it still costs money. So what's your advice for a smaller firm who does not have that much of resources to begin with.
Okay, as usual, I go first. Basically, BIM for small firm, if you are 1-2 person, will be tough because the software itself is expensive. And actually, the software is not the killer. The killer is operator. Actually, the most expensive is to get the operator, and sometimes you do your own training. This is what happened in Singapore before 10 years ago. They train, then people pinch away. So the most expensive is the operator available and stay in your office if you're willing to train them. For small firm, you find it difficult because previously they have their own CAD system sufficient. Suddenly you need to add the software, you need to add the BIM. So it is a cost implication. But what I can see is that usually the one that now Malaysia insists are bigger projects that insist on BIM. Smaller projects, they don't have this insistence yet by the client or even from the owner. So they have still time to adopt, but bigger firms, in order to qualify them for bigger project, they will have to have the BIM. So that is BIM. You cannot escape lah. In summary, you have to do it one day. You do it faster, you have less challenges in the future. So that's one thing. As for server, I believe small firms even can have a server. For myself, even for my own house, I have a server. A cloud server costs you 1,000 ringgit plus the hard disk. You can have 2, so that if your small firm is enough for you to operate. Especially the technology now costs like I have a Synology server. They call it cloud server for home use. So actually, for small firm, you even can use that. So I believe they cater to different size. Bigger firm will need a bigger server. A smaller firm, maybe 1,000-2,000, you can get a server to start up with. Then you buy 2 or 3 just to make sure you back it up then and things like that. So I believe everybody can adopt. Its only thing is that like Singapore, when they started BIM, their government do them $1 to $1. Which we go through MPC, we try to propose to the government many times, $1 to $1. That means if I buy the software of 30,000, I basically will pay out 15,000. The 15,000 I can deduct from my tax. So, and even I train a person, all the training I put in, let's say I train 5 person, each one cost me 20,000, is 100,000. My bill is 50,000 because other 50,000 is deducted from the tax paying to the government. But our government are not able to do that, and they create a CIDB BIM center. But how realistic is that people to go to other people's place to work? So that's one thing. And they only can cater for certain size to help certain size. But you must know, in the consultancy industry, what can make our professional service self-sufficient to cater for own job, and also later to export services, are medium to large size consultant, not 1 to 2 person, to be honest, size that able to contribute to national productivity that either PSPN and MPC are targeting and MITI are targeting. But the policy we make by CIDB are not helping those. They are doing the reverse. So I can't comment further. So those who are medium to large size, they have to cater for themselves, because we don't see any funding or helping from CIDB or whatever. That is my comment.
Sharifah?
Okay. It's a very interesting question because I am exposed to both situations where a big firm, big company, developer is wanting to go on BIM, and the way they do it is different from the smaller firm who wants to adopt BIM or adopt digitalization. Okay, example, for the bigger firm, of course, they have the bigger money power. They have the greeneries, basically. However, it is important for them to adopt the way they adopt digitalization. Okay, for BIM, the way they do it is important. If not, they may fail when they go on without the hand-holding process. They might think that BIM does not benefit them so much as per what is said for. Now, when they want for bigger firms, they have lots of staffs. Okay, so they can divide the staffs. Okay, you take the engineering, and you take the US and everyone, and they can do it in one place where this is the best way forward. Okay, so they have the money, they can buy the softwares, they can also train the staff. Okay, and then the staffs can actually use this knowledge to do the projects and actually get the benefits from it. However, for smaller firms, it's a bit difficult. As Dr. San said just now, the cost is very important, is very high. Okay, in order for you to actually adopt them, you have to have at least 200,000 in hand for you to buy the software and the hardware. But to me, whether you are small or big, the most important is the attitude of the management. If the attitude of the management is not pro or not pro digitalization and BIM, whether small or big company you are, it can never go, because if let's say it must be from top down. If not, you will fail. That's my opinion.
Interesting.
Maharif?
Okay. Yeah. Right. So, Sharifah, it is interesting that you also mentioned that we currently we only scratch the surface of the BIM technology. Yeah? It's only the tip of iceberg. Right. What do you think about the future? Where the future leads for the BIM? Because right now all the craze is about AI, artificial intelligence. Right now, my concept is that even with the current technology, we only manage to, we only use only a bit of it. So, do you think that with the advancement of AI, it helps us to use the BIM technology up to more than 90%? Would it actually help to assist in our work?
In the AI?
Yes. Would AI actually help us in the BIM, using BIM?
Oh, okay. You must understand. Okay. You must have the fundamental of being correct and in place before you can go further to innovation and digitalization of basically, in order, okay, as I said to you, the tip of the iceberg, even now, people are still focused on 3D modeling as well as stress detection. They are not reaping the benefits of the cost of the construction management, scheduling, because there's none in Malaysia. They're not doing integrated BIM, which is a shame. They only do 3D and clash detection. So their team in the construction industry are only for 3D modelers. And it's not actually a whole 3D, 4D, 5D BIM yet. That is the sad thing. Okay, example, CIDB. For the modules in CIDB or training, there's only CIDB manager, CIDB modeler, CIDB coordinator, okay? And also BIM quantification using Navisworks, also for FM. However, the 5D BIM for section of quantity, costing is still not there for people who do the bill of quantities, which relates to the model as well as the cost. So how can industry players reap this benefit and get this benefit and enjoy this benefit when it's not done? Even JKR, their request for information, RFIs, they only need modelers. They say, yes, we want Revit or whatever operating tool, Then after that, they'll say, after 3D and flash detection, which may be hundreds, which this improves a bit, but then after that, they directly go to see without the 4D and 5D categories. So this needs to be rectified actually.
Perhaps that this happened because of the cost of acquiring the BIM software itself. Because I remember last time when I shop around, I looked into one of the software, and then they had a subscription for the light version and then the full version. And then when we compare the price, of course, people with a smaller amount of resources would go for the light version. But when we look at the light version, it's not as extensive as the full version of the software. So do you think that the software provider also need to create a much more attractive package for the smaller firms to be able to fully reap the benefit of BIM?
The one I can comment. Basically, the BIM are done by US firms. They are very big. To them, it's very cheap. But you remember that in the olden days, software you purchase once is old, but you can continue to use forever. Now they changed to yearly license, and the amount of money I paid is equivalent to about nearly 30% of the profit that I make. That is how the industry are being killed by yearly license renewal. And so therefore careful of not over-specifying BIM. The reason is that if you are over-specifying BIM, you pay up to the nose for things that you may not need. I do agree with what they call it, surveyor Sharifah, that BIM can do a lot of things, but whether that project needs to do this or not, we don't want to overuse. Just like Ferrari, Formula 1 car, very fast on track, right? But you drive to work, you don't need a Ferrari. So we have to be pragmatic. Malaysia, whatever we like or don't like, we did not achieve the 2020 vision. So our consultancy are actually suffering from low fees, collection problem, not able to grow, and then actually a lot of people are suffering. And now it become worse. We would like to adopt digitalization, but the licensing we pay through BIM, they actually Revit, even my software, that structural software, geotechnical software, it costs me hundreds of thousands every year just to pay their license. Whether you got job or not, they don't care. And they are very good. They turn all to yearly license. Once you stop paying, you cannot use. Your old license, they will take back. So all these things, what is our country able to do? We are not able to do. We are too small. That's why they bully you. So I think this is a reality we face. So I'm not saying that we should not be adopt digitalization, but don't go until we specify everything must be for Ferrari, Formula 1 car. If you need, you need. Mega projects, okay, you do it because there are fees you cover for it. Everything comes with a cost. But let's say commercial development, sometimes you don't need because other software can be combined to do the work equally. So that is my recommendation. And until WITI or our government able to come out with a bulk license, I mean for Malaysia, we qualify for a developing country, then you give us a certain, we control their control on the fees, or else every year their fees goes up. Economy, do good, no good, they don't care. You talk to all the people who operate and adopt engineering software, they are suffering. And I tell you, 30-40% of your profit will go to that licensing money. That is the major concern.
Right. 30, oh my goodness, 30% is like, it's already one third of the profit. How can we actually survive that? So Sharifah, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, okay. I just want to touch on actually the trainings as well. Why companies, no matter whether small or big, are very reluctant to provide BIM is also the knowledge of the staff. When they have the staff trained, unfortunately they get pinched, or because for a higher salary. So this is, so they don't have the people who can man the computer and the softwares as well. So they have to retrain, and they can't get the benefit from it because the person's gone. with the computer still like a white elephant. So that's why sometimes we have all these problems. These are the challenges that the companies, the management face, Hairul. So I mean like, okay, I would like to touch on the universities actually. If let's say we could provide a pool of skilled people who knows the knowledge of BIM, no matter what software. When they come out from the universities, they already know Vico, they already know Gloden, they know Build Space, Type, they know Revit, Battery, Tekla, you know, all. So this will be very good because then they will stop pinching, because there's a school skilled people with knowledge in which which they can get and use it for their projects. Okay, so universities play a major role in getting to educate the students. Okay, and hopefully the people who have the license, who are the owner of the license, can give the universities the educational license for free, or reduce it, reduce the trainings, you know, so that the universities could actually get the knowledge from all these licensed software, and actually can teach the students. So when the students come out to the industry, and then when we say, do you know this software? Say, yes, we have actually learned it before. These are the things that we want. Aaron.
Yes. Okay. That is interesting. Actually, I suddenly remember talking about the cost of BIM. I think quite recently, the architecture firms around the world wrote an open letter to Autodesk saying that the Revit is actually expensive, but Autodesk said that it's quite cheap. So we start to see that how this is going to play out. So that actually leads to another question because of this particular cost. But we see that the importance of adopting the new technology. Would you think that open source software would be the key to the future? I mean, I imagine that perhaps that the government would start to invest a scheme or a program in which that we would start to develop our own open source BIM software or engineering software, in which that all the engineering firms, surveying firm, architecture firm could actually contribute and band together to actually to develop this software. Would you think that this would actually help to move things forward?
I fully support your proposal. Actually, it will cost the government less money if they really get to develop one provided usable. The reason is that all these licensing fees is actually sent out to overseas. We are draining our foreign reserve. We are paying to international big companies that operate this software. So by having develop a software that's suitable for construction industry, and the person should do it is CIDB. How much money they have in their account? Every year you go and check, what did they do? They do a lot of things. I also partly involved in some of their activities. But this is construction industry. If you develop a software of BIM that able to use by all Malaysian for all Malaysia project, and it will be free if you are a local firm that pay tax to Malaysia and also for local project, then it will be a justice to the country. Even we can work together with other ASEAN countries, those who want to use it, and we sell it at a reasonable price. So that is the way to go. But who is going to do the champion? I always say, good ideas, but nobody want to champion because it's not easy. Good things are never easy. Easy things like Greta Thunberg, don't go to school, go and demonstrate, say, environment, and if she become a hero, actually very easy. Our Malaysian kids also can stop going to school and say, save the environment, but that is easy things people can do. But difficult thing is, my suggestion is that, can we combine all the resources of all the organizations, write to CIDB, tell CIDB to come up with a proposal to do a BIM model for Malaysian in construction industry. Then everybody use that BIM. Then it will save us a lot of money.
That actually makes very, very much sense. I never thought of that. I mean, like, I think perhaps it is a cause worth fighting for everyone within the building industry. Okay, that gives me some interesting idea. But anyway, Surveyor Sharifah?
Okay. Yes, what Dr. Tan said is true. If let's say we could actually combine our efforts together, architect, engineer, QS, all surveyors, come and do as I said, propose a BIM model which can be used by everyone, that will be marvelous. But because of the different softwares, their advantages, their uh, what lacks, their weaknesses, their strengths, is actually different for different things and items. So I think it would be quite difficult for us to do this actually, even though it would be marvelous. Okay, but maybe what we can do is create example. If let's say when the government is actually offering grants for digitalization, I think they should not forget about BIM, because you have to crawl and walk and before you can run. So BIM is a fundamental. In order for you to crawl, you have to get the grants should be catered for BIM, for small projects, SMEs who want to embark on BIM. And for also, I mean, like they should have a specific fund, okay, and which is like Singapore. What Singapore did was they give grants to SMEs who actually want to embark on it, and they have to prove that they actually embark on it and have reaped the harvest from BIM. Okay, then they will have the grants. So in Malaysia, it's not that. They only have CIDB who provides the training at CIDB BIM Center. So that is good. However, it does not, as Dr. Tan said, it's quite difficult to actually go there, logistically. Okay. So if let's say they can have some fund to give to people who actually want to embark on BIM, then it will be good and the way forward. Because some SMEs, they want to embark on BIM, but they don't have the 100 to 200,000. So how can they move forward? And especially now when it's COVID, I think one thing good about COVID is it brings all the different disciplines together. Okay, if let's say we can, for the architecture engineers, QSs, okay, now we are actually talking to each other more than before. Last time, everybody are working in silos, okay? But now, because of this collaboration of BIM, we have to work with one another, okay? So I see the improvement in the collaboration process. Many MOUs are being signed together, and hope that this can be improved further. Okay. One of the things that the CIDB should actually still develop is the pay-per-use for SMEs. Now, last time there was a suggestion that CIDB lead for the SMEs to use the license per pay-per-use. Meaning, if let's say they need to use the license of Revit or Bentley or Tekla, so they can use it for a duration of time and pay for that duration of time instead of having to burden them for the whole of the year when they actually, the project's only for 6 months or 1 year. So when they have a pay-per-use license, this will help SMEs to embark on BIM much more. This is one of the ideas.
All right. Okay. I think now is we have like several questions from the audience that we can look at. First, I would like to take the question from Shan Lim. The fraternity can consider a trusted, time-stamped, traceable, and verification persimmon-based documents exchange cloud (DLT) based on top of the BIM to be shared for all the professionals to share. Perhaps there are certain functionality and processes can be handled by cloud-based collaborative work from anywhere for the general SMEs and clients. So I guess this is actually for Survey Sharifah to answer.
Oh, okay.
Or Dr. Tan?
I think the cloud sharing of BIM model, we have done it in MRT2. Actually, all the model has to be moved from different consultant to one consultant putting their input. So I don't know what is their question. His question very long, but I believe the sharing of model has been doing in BIM. BIM, if you go and do BIM, definitely the model has to be shared. And everybody has an input, and then there is a cut-off point. Then everybody agree. Then you move on to continue input. Then there's a cut-off point, and that is how the BIM model is developed. Maybe surveyors, Sharifah has more input.
Okay. Okay. Regarding the sharing of the models in cloud, I believe that is the way forward. As nowadays the projects can be anywhere, so basically it's important to be able to obtain the updated model, the most updated model, anywhere in the world, okay, and I think so basically everyone must have a BEP, okay, BEP, to ensure that they know which model they are going to use and which one is updated, because everybody, if you use cloud, it organizes which one is the most updated model. So it will help the players, the BIM players, regarding this. Yes, I believe cloud-based collaborative work from anywhere is very significant and important.
Okay, so we have another question from Mahazani Ali. Disruptive digital technology is reshaping almost our daily work. We all know security and privacy cannot leave behind. Any comments from the panels on how to manage this issue?
I explained already. So just now I showed the digitalization of simple things like papers, reports, drawings, all these. Actually, security are there, because I tell you, even you take a drawing hard copy with a PE stamp. I serve in the board of engineers, professional engineers, professional practice committee. We investigate a lot of cases of fraud. You know what happened? Their PE stamp had been scanned and print onto a drawing, and the people who use it and a professional engineer not even aware. It's a hard copy that's submitted to authority. When things happen, then they found that I was never involved in this project, how this submission of all these things happen. So in summary, digital is even safer. Let's say I have a construction drawing, I need to verify on site, I'm using a pad. I can click on the drawing, I can know when is the date of this drawing issued, and I date of who issued it and who has signed on it. Is even better than a hard copy with a PE stamp. So security-wise, actually are improving with digitalization. It's only the mental thinking. Just like nowadays, we buy things, we use e-wallet, right? In China, they have been using e-wallet for the last 5 years. To them, they don't have cash. I go there, I want to buy something, and the problem is that I have cash, they don't want to sell me because they don't have cash to deal with you, and people are queuing up. You either, so what end up is that you pay someone give it to you, but they are so reluctant because nobody wants cash. So digitalization is moving on, and Malaysia are catching up, and our construction industry need to catch up, and we have to work together. That's why I'm even sharing how to do it in the Adobe, the link I give you. You read it, you actually can do it for free. So I hope by doing this, everybody is getting to learn something, and it doesn't cost you much. So it's a must, no choice.
So, Sharifah?
Okay. Yes, disruptive digital technology is definitely shaping up almost our daily life. As you mentioned, actually, you know, sometimes when you see the movies where you say that you see the movies where there's hackers who extract, you know, hacks into the system, the country's system, and things like that. And it's actually terrifying. I believe that even though we are going towards the cloud-based, um, 360, share the information. However, it is important for us to tighten the security and the privacy. If not, it might get hacked. I mean, like probably we should have a organization who actually looks into this much more seriously, because I believe that the way, because of COVID and things like that, we have to digitalize. If not, we will be backwards. And as Dr. Tan said, China have used e-wallet for so long. We are just embarking on it. And I feel that this, like e-wallet is good, but people have some skepticism or reservation to use it, just in case, you know, what if someone hacks into our bank or our account and takes the money? So it is a concern and must be seriously looked into.
Yeah, because like I think like it is always like Malaysia is a bit late in adopting any kind of technology. I mean, I've seen this like for the past 30 years. Like we have this particular trend. We like to we are kind of consumer nation who would like to wait and see rather than going head on jump into straight for the adopting the technology. Without actually knowing whether what's the risk. It's just like I guess that one of the reason why China can actually move forward so fast, because they are willing to take the risk, that kind of risk quite earlier on, and then they don't mind about the security, because I think that they know you will never know what are the issues regarding with the technology, unless if you actually adopting it in the first place. And then we would start to see how it actually start to, I mean, like how we can localize the technology to suit our needs. Okay, now I think I have another question, quite interesting one, I guess. Yesterday I saw this interview about artificial intelligence. It's called GPT-3. And then I found out that this GPT-3 has emotion, and it actually interacts and can make jokes like a human. And it can even lie like a human. Dia boleh menipu tau, the AI. So I'm not kidding. It's kind of scary to see. And then this actually makes me think. It makes me imagine that perhaps that in the future, maybe that we would prefer to hire AI to be our staff rather than hiring human. So that would actually, I mean, well, when you have like a GPT-3, a technology that actually more human than human. So I mean, because Dr. Tan already mentioned quite very early in the presentation about the loss of human touch. But when the AI itself has the human touch, do you think that we are under threat of losing our job in our professional field?
Okay, my view is that construction industry is too small for the developer of AI willing to spend their time and effort to create AI for you. You generate too few revenue for them. If I create a software that is AI that can use in all the electronics, I can oversell you in any time. So that is a good news. That means the good programmer and smart AI developer will not want to spend the effort to replace an engineer, because the effort to put in to replace engineer is so difficult, but how many software can you sell? And how much can they afford to pay? But if I have a system that everybody pay from a system that AI I develop, I sell at $10 US, and there are 200 billion people, 200 million people that buy it, I can sell very fast and I worth the effort. So I have analyzed this, and we are lucky or unlucky lah. I take it lucky lah with industry. Nobody will want to do the AI for the construction industry, or even they do it, the user will be so few, and it will be too high the cost, and rather it's not like able to replace engineering, because engineers have to deal with a lot unknown. Okay, that is my take lah. I hope I'm right, or else we all lost job already. Next time webinar is AI, learning from AI. You don't see each other. They are talking in the cloud without we knowing. Thank you.
Sharifah?
Okay. Oh, now I know why Harold is really into the AI, because you've seen this GPT-3 okay, movie. Right. Okay. I think there are certain industries which are going towards AI. Example, painting. I believe in Hong Kong, they're using AI for printing, for painting of buildings at the moment. Okay, and they have gone to that far. However, as Dr. Tan said, I would never think that AI could actually replace human being. Where I think the human touch is very important, even though we do make mistakes and we have certain errors and things like that. However, perfect robots or AI may not be the solution. We still need the ability to think, to feel, and to actually express ourselves in a human way, and have different ways of handling things, handling challenges, things like that, which maybe they can program the AI, but I mean, like, basically, not AI is not the solution always. It may be a solution for certain things, as like Dr. Tan said. If anybody is able to do the have the money to do it, because it's high cost, okay. So then for painting, for roadworks or something like that, then maybe they will get this AI. But for the time being, I don't think, as Dr. San said, it's too expensive for the time being. So hopefully it still will be like that in 10 to 20 years time. Hopefully, Dr. Tan, yeah?
Hopefully.
Actually, maybe I want to add something.
Yeah.
Seriously, currently the software is already near, because in order to do structural analysis for the first cut based on BIM model, actually I heard they have the software that actually, once you have the BIM model, they can analyze with the input and also follow to the code. That is not AI, because that is called passive input. That means they have all the codes already pre-input, no need to learn in a way. AI, because my son went to Tsinghua University, 3 months practical training, they have this AI development, he was involved. Actually, AI needs a lot of learning. That means from the data you collected, the more data you collect, the more it learns, and then it can able to excel in certain aspect, but it's very limited. You must give them a very close feel. Example, in a voice, they have very successfully done a simulation of voice replacing human. That means he can talk to you like you are talking to someone making appointment. That one Google has demonstrated that. That is already done. So, but to do engineering, you don't need to AI, because you can have a passive programming that have the code, engineering code already in place. Once you have the BIM model, he will apply the code directly, and the engineering software will run it on their own, give you the many moments, shear force and reinforcement. Engineers only need to check. That can be done. actually that is not really AI. That is called a smart programming.
Mm-hmm. Because yesterday, during the yesterday session, it involves people from the legal industry. They mentioned one of the presenter mentioned that in Sabah they already use AI for to assist for sentencing. So that we can see like how it actually we can use AI within our industry to help us in making decisions. Just like what you said just now. When the programming actually detect all the detect and analyze the BIM model, and then they would help the engineers to make further decision and actions based on the informations. So I think through this discussion we can start to see the direction of where the technology would actually leads. Right, and what is our role within that particular task or challenge, or perhaps within that particular direction, in which that because I think I have asked Dr. Azmi about this in the sessions involving architects about the education itself, because we have seen all this technology that is so smart and it helps engineer, architects, surveyor to do their job. In the end, I know that surveyor Sharifah already about university's role within the development of technology, adoption of technology, but is it still important for us in the future to learn about the conventional way of doing things?
Conventional way of doing things.
Yeah.
Okay. As I said to you, we have to merangkak dulu, baru berjalan dan berlari. So we have to know the principle, the basic is most important. The conventional way is you must know the basic principles, okay, which is as you said, the conventional way, before we can actually move on to technology. So even if let's say you say okay lah, contoh for extracting of data, if you don't have the knowledge of what to extract and put it in the BQ, then even if you have tools, you will still get things wrong because you don't have the knowledge of the conventional way. Okay, I don't mean to go back to the squaring and things like that. No, but basically you still need the basic principles, how to do the takeoff, what you take off, things like that. Okay, you must know, and in order for you to know your stuff, and also how to make sure that you know how, if the quantities are correct, you need to know how to ballpark it, okay, to make sure that these are correctly done, okay, before you can move towards your digitalization. Because if let's say you just base it on digitalization, as I said to you, rubbish in, rubbish out, what did the software actually extract? You must know what actually they extracted in order for it to be accurate, isn't it? So if let's say you don't know your basic principles of things to be extracted, then you will be rubbish. So yes, I believe conventional way you must know before you can, but the tools are there for you to help you to make your process easier. Okay, but you must know your basic principles. That's why I mean, like some people say, remember I said to you the what is not BIM, when the thing is and the misconceptions about BIM, when people say, oh, if let's say the models can be extracted, then we don't need QS. No, that's QS will be extinct. No, it cannot be like that, because QSs give other inputs, cost inputs, quantity inputs, knowledge input for the project, not just the extraction of the quantity. So This is what I feel. Aaron.
Okay, for engineering, there is no shortcut. If you only know how to use software, you are called technician. You are not engineer. Engineers be qualified. You define engineer as someone able to create from fundamental science. That means you must have a basic knowledge of physics, engineering knowledge in order to create and solve complex problems. That means you must think. You must have a fundamental to understand the physics, then you apply it, or else you are technician. So the chances is in the future, a lot of engineering firms are able to employ Form 5 graduates to operate machine. That means those who are repeated work, that after the engineer think of the concept and how to solve it, the operator can be Form 5 or Form 3 because the software are so smart. In a way, smart, that means user friendly. You just need to key in and it will come out, and the engineer will finally check again like what. So that is possible. That means we are lowering the standards of a basic operator from an engineer level to maybe a high school student, but the engineer are doing a more high level jobs because the low level simple input and compiling and all these are done by non-engineers. So that is a possible for future.
Right, because I always say to my students, I think I share both of your sentiments towards this issue, because I got questions questioning why do we still need to learn all of these complex things, doing things by paper and pencil. So I told them that imagine if your computer fails you still need to do your work. And this knowledge would actually make sure that we will complete our work by hook or by crook. So that's what I told my students, because I had an experience where the students said that they cannot complete the work because their computer fails them. The computer stuck, so cannot do work. I said, tak boleh lah macam tu. Kan? So that's why I think we have to agree that despite of all the technological advancement, we still need to learn how to crawl, walk, and then before that we can actually run and jump, right? So I think I really enjoy today's discussion. The panelists also enjoys the discussion as well as our attendees, because if we look at through the chat box, there are so many responses towards our discussion. Yes. And I think it is very good. It's very good. So it seems that that we have given them something that they can learn together with us, right? Yeah, Zafira and Diamas. Okay.
We have the discussion part.
Time flies.
Thank you, Zafira.
Time really flies. I think because at the moment, I think I would love to have all this discussion longer than I mean, but we are actually at the end of our session. It's already 4 o'clock, right? Tapi itulah, I mean, I think maybe in future we could have a discussion with other consultants regarding this topic, how we can actually see the future, because I think one of the things that we need to have is actually the ability to see the future as well, and to predict what would actually be the future, so that with that we can actually compete with other nations to be a much more productive and a much more resilient and become a much more independent within our industry. So yeah, actually it's already 4 o'clock. We are at the end of our session. On behalf of NPN, I would like to say thank you to Engineer Dr. Tan Yean and Surveyor Sharifah Nuraini for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us today. I really enjoyed discussing these topics with both of you, and it is an honor to have you both presenting and discussing the topics in our session today. And I would like to say thank you to NPN for organizing such a wonderful event. And also to our audience, thank you for spending your time attending our event, for giving your feedback, for giving questions, and listening to the presentations. We hope that the audience would actually find the knowledge shared by our presenters would be beneficial and useful to them, and it can help them in facing the future of our world. So before we end our session today, I would like to recite a pantun. Nasi dihidang untuk dimakan bersama di waktu pagi. Salah dan silap harap dimaafkan, di lain hari bertemu lagi. Thank you again, and I hope to see you all in the next session. My name is Muhammad Khairul Izaham, signing off for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Muhammad.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much
Thank you.
for a very
Bye.
short